We're live.
All right. I'm going to call to order the St. John Plan Commission meeting for December 7th. If we can all stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Sergio, please.
Bob Brolson,
Here.
Yolanda Cardona is not here. John Gill,
Here.
Joe Gomestego,
Here.
Bob Valois,
Here.
Jason Vlasic,
Here.
John Kennedy,
Here.
Attorney Adam Decker,
Here.
Engineer John Dykstra,
Here.
Councilman Liaison Brian Blazak,
Present.
and Town Manager Joe Wizawati.
Present. We have a quorum. Next on the agenda, we have the minutes. We have two sets of minutes. We have the November 2nd, 2022 Plan Commission regular minutes. Is there a motion regarding those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 2nd, 2022 Plan Commission regular meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Question for the group. I was not here that day. Minutes look good to everybody?
Yep.
All right, thank you. All in favor, or any more questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have the November 6th Plan Commission Study Session minutes. Is there, entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the November 16th, 2022 Plan Commission study session minutes.
I got a motion by John Gill. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by Bob Brolson. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Item number 5, no public hearing. Old new business. First item is the Gates of St. John, Unit 12B. There is a request for, 21B, request for extension of primary plat for 25 single-family residential lots. Mr. Kill, how are you, sir?
Good. How's everybody tonight?
Very good.
As we discussed at the study session, there really isn't anything that has changed from then to now with item A or B. Be happy to answer any questions anybody may have, but it's just an extension of primary plat. is what
Just
we're
for those
requesting.
that, Steve, that weren't here or online, can you provide the reasoning for the extension?
The reason for the extension is that we are not going to plat any, we're not going to final plat any lots right now. We will this coming year, but we're requesting the 6-month extension that's required by the ordinance for primary plat. So the way it works is that you get your primary plat approved, and then you have like 12 months to plat, a lot or a series of lots. It doesn't matter how many. One platted lot, it will extend it for a year, but instead of platting, like I said, it's getting like 21A, B, C, D, E. It just gets so cumbersome for everybody to track and for everybody to keep track of what's going on. It's just a lot easier to request an extension. Then we have just that one unit we're dealing with, then everybody can track it very easily. That's kind of the purpose of why that exists.
Appreciate that. Thank
Sure.
you.
If I may, Mr. Decker, is there a requirement that it be done every year by statute, or is there a requirement that maybe we could do it on a maybe 2-year basis, not just for this development, but I've had another developer ask the same question in discussion, to where maybe that could be done every 2 years for an extension?
Well, currently, the subdivision control ordinance provides that, and this is not directed by state statute, but it's our Town of St. John's subdivision control ordinance provides that primary plat approval shall be effective for a maximum period of 12 months, unless upon application by the subdivider in writing, an extension of time is requested. The Plan Commission, finding reasonable grounds, therefore, can grant one or more extensions which shall not be for a period longer than 6 months, provided, however, secondary plat approval of any portion of the primary plat, which portion is predetermined at the public hearing on the primary plat approval, shall automatically extend the remainder of the primary plat for an additional 12 months. So in my opinion, if I don't believe the Plan Commission has discretion to extend it beyond 6 months. I think under the terms of the subdivision control ordinance, the applicant would have to come back every 6 months and request an extension. Plan Commission could certainly consider, revising and amending the subdivision control ordinance, as you might have suggested, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's appropriate as written currently.
So that would be something that would have to be considered by the town council as far as amending the ordinance with the recommendation from the plan commission, obviously.
Yes, any revisions to the subdivision control ordinance are first reviewed and considered by the Plan Commission, who ultimately then make a recommendation to the town council to adopt the ordinance that would make that change.
So why would this become germane to the situation here is what you might be asking. And with the situation with the interest rates as they are, this might be something that on the larger subdivisions you may want to consider at some point. But that's study session material. But sorry to take it off track, but
No, this happened before. When interest rates rose, everybody
Yeah.
remembers the Great Recession that hit. Everything just stopped, and at the Plan Commission level here in St. John, it was just, well, what are you going to do? You
Right.
can't not extend people's plats. So the Plan Commission was constantly extending plats, and at that time probably should have been looked at, but
right. So I think that might be something to keep on our radar. And I'll work with Sergio to make sure that we keep that on your agenda.
Very good. Any other additional questions, comments from the board for the petitioner? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Motion is either to accept, deny, or defer, I would imagine.
Motion to extend Gates of St. John Unit 21B.
I have a motion to approve the extension of the Gates of St. John 21B. Is there a second?
Second.
I got a second by Bob Valoy. The motion was approved, made by Bob Burleson. Questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 6-0. Next on the agenda, very similar, the Gates of St. John Unit 24, 25, 27, and 28. Request for extension for primary plat for a 218 lot subdivision. Mr. Kell, I'll turn it over to you again.
you can see this is basically the exact same request of primary plats, just different units.
Okay.
I have nothing really different.
All right, bring it back to the board. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to either approve, deny, defer the extension.
Make a motion to approve the Gates of St. John Units 24, 25, 27, and 28, primary plat.
I have a motion to approve the extension made by John Gill. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Burleson. Discussion, comments? Hearing none. Motion to approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 6-0. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great Christmas.
You do the same. Next on the agenda, we have Parish Woods, proposed final plat for Parish Woods. This is a 27 single-family residential lot at 11115 Parish Avenue. Good evening, sir. Introduce yourself.
Good evening. John Schmaltz of Burkestans and Carberry. I'm here on behalf of the principal, Ryan Fleming of 1110 LLC. I know he's sent to you some of his regards and apologies for his absence at the meeting earlier this week. His wife delivered their second child, and when I talked to him last, he was still in the hospital with her. Mother and baby are happy and healthy, and father is recovering, I believe.
Well, wish him our best and congratulations, please.
I will do that. Thank you. I did have the benefit of communicating with Mr. Decker and staff here, as well as Mr. Fleming, on what the latest developments are in terms of the activity at the site, the installation of a variety of infrastructure structures. There is a relatively short, what I would characterize as a punch list of items that the developer's contractor has confirmed in writing is underway and progressing towards completion. All of these are acknowledged. They're within the scope of that work and they're warranted. I can touch on any variety of those items. The one that I might point out as being, relatively significant is the installation of a sewer lift station at the site. Just because of, I'm sure what all of you have heard from so many other people, the delay in getting supplies assembled and delivered. That is a largely pre-fabricated unit that's being shipped to the site. We got confirmation just yesterday that its outgoing delivery will occur by this next Monday. So that it will be delivered, or it's really a matter of installing it at the site. The holdup was electrical connections, the equipment in that unit to hook it up to electric power. That's been finalized. It'll be on a truck and delivered here for installation. There are, excuse me, in addition to those items, 2 items that I think following inspection were brought to the developer's attention and for which I understand this commission has the authority, certainly not the obligation, to waive, and for those we'd request waivers. One of them has to do with the shape and style of inlet grates for storm sewer at the curb. And the other has to do with the location of Buffalo box valves for water. And I don't know if Sergio, it was your office or whom was kind enough to prepare a illustration showing the 2 locations of those. One is between lot 2 and 3, the other between, I'm sorry, those relate to the easements. It's lot 6, 27, 20, and 23. And each of those water service locations is set back from the existing curb within the right-of-way and would need to be moved, but we believe they're within about 12 inches of where they would otherwise be required to be. So that being one issue, the other is the storm sewer inlet grates are the 2 items that our client would request waivers on. If it's helpful to go through any items with letter of credit or the punch list items, happy to address any questions I can, or otherwise take any other comments or questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions or comments for petitioner? Well, were you made aware of, we just heard from a petitioner asking for an extension of their primary plat. Were you made aware of the primary plat for Parish Wood was approved June of 2021, based on 4 contingencies that weren't completed and accepted until August of 2022, therefore not making the 1-year minimum requirement without any prior knowledge or request for an extension?
I was not aware of it. Doesn't mean I should not have been. I should have been. And apologize for the oversight in that respect, given the latency of that and the time gap between that 12-month expiration and what's occurred in terms of progress towards secondary plat. Likewise, I would apologetically request an appropriate extension for primary plat for that purpose.
And I understand your request. Unfortunately, I do not know. For like this day, I don't know legally we can make that determination without further consideration or review, and at least obtaining legal recommendation on if we can even make a motion on a secondary plat based on a primary plat now being past our subdivision control ordinance minimum 1-year requirement without the proper notification for a request for extension. So, knowing that, the other items, and from my understanding, I don't know if development fees, bonds, or letter of credits have been submitted. I will entertain questions, comments, recommendations for this board to make.
Going back to the lift station, I don't feel comfortable approving anything without the lift station being built and up and running. Hate to approve it, and then there's another delay or problems or whatnot, and now the town's got platted lots, builders are ready to go, and we don't have a lift station working.
And I just don't know if we can make a recommendation to defer approve of a secondary plat when the primary plat now is
Yeah,
expired.
right. But I just want,
Defer?
yeah, I just wanted to bring that up since the petitioner's here,
Absolutely.
because for a number of meetings, he
So-
wasn't here.
For the good of the cause and for the petitioner, since he was just recently made aware of the situation, why don't we give him the benefit of the doubt and let's make a recommendation for a deferral? Is that to the comfort of this board? So that the situation could be addressed and potentially resolved?
Yep.
I will entertain a motion for deferral.
I'll make a motion to defer.
I have a motion from Bob Valois to defer. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I got a second by Jason. Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Mr. Schmaltz, motion to defer. I would recommend that, of course, you will get with staff and determine next steps. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, I am to read, so please bear with me. Read a record to update primary plat contingency letter from town engineer Ken Kraus regarding Astoria 2021-17. Dear Plan Commission, on September 7th, 2022, the Plan Commission granted primary plat approval for Astoria subdivision with the contingencies that the sanitary sewer segment from Astoria to the existing sewer on Century Drive be designed so that new sewer would be within an easement. The revised sanitary sewer plan proposed is to install a casing pipe beneath the existing utilities and have a carrier pipe inside it for the sanitary sewer. The casting and carrier pipe will be located with the existing utility easement and installed via a method other than open trenching. This required public utility companies that have existing facilities within the existing easement to agree to the proposed sewer plan. Communications from NIPSCO, AT&T, and Comcast have been obtained, and all state their agreement to the proposed plan. We believe the plan submitted on November 16, 2022, and the details submitted on November 23, 2022, satisfy the contingencies of primary plat approval. If you have any questions, please contact sincerely Ken Kraus. So for the benefit, all that was needed to be was read into the record. And I didn't mispronounce any road names, by the way, guys. I thought you'd be very polite. Next on the agenda, we have St. John Commons, proposed final plat for St. John Commons Phase 1, 13 cottage homes at 10201 Calumet Avenue, zoned PUD development. Mr. Reddick,
Good evening, Doug Reddick with EVG,
this is going to be your show for the rest of the meeting, isn't it?
possibly. Ron from St. John Commons LLC is here as well. Brad was unavailable tonight. But we are here tonight to seek primary plat approval for the first phase of St. John Commons. The first phase being only the residential portion of the project, the 13 cottage homes to the northeast, and the 2 cottage homes to the southwest, for a total of 15 single-family lots. As we talked about at the study session, all the improvements are in the ground. The retention pond is there and functioning. Pavement is down. Infrastructure is complete. Robinson's reviewed the plat. We addressed a few comments that they had regarding that. So we have the review fee, I think, Jonathan, has to be calculated, right?
Yes.
So Jonathan can speak for himself.
Yeah.
There's a couple loose ends that we have to clean up, but yeah, bottom line, we're here to request final plat approval for Phase 1 of St. John Commons.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
No.
Doug, unfortunately, I do not have a letter from the town engineer regarding final plat approval. John, do you have a deadline on when you will, I don't know when things were turned in. I don't know. So right now, I don't,
We've been exchanging emails as late as
Yeah.
today.
Yeah,
Right,
we
so-
did receive a revised plat that addressed several comments. We received the estimate and completion percentage. We didn't get that reviewed in time to prepare a letter for the meeting tonight,
okay.
but we will, I don't know, when's the next, by the
Okay.
next meeting?
Okay.
Yeah.
Questions or comments from the board? Gentlemen, until I think we get that letter, I think it would be appropriate to defer. We need that stuff in hand. All right. I'll entertain a motion to defer. We don't have to defer.
No.
I just feel bad we don't have a letter stating that everything's dotted and.
Why do you
I's
feel
dotted.
bad?
Well, I don't feel bad. Well,
That's- You didn't do it.
all right, well, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion, want to entertain a motion to defer St. John Commons.
I got a motion to defer final plat by Bob Burleson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Doug, don't go too far. We got Lenting's second edition to St. John and rezone. I understand you are now going to be representing the individual.
That is correct. And again, that just happened since the last meeting. So we will be presenting something very soon on that, but for tonight, we're just going to ask for it to be deferred. I think we're going to ask for the rezoning portion of it first before we get into the subdivision plat, so we can make sure everybody's comfortable with that rezone. But we're in the very early stages of working with Mr. Lenting on that project, so more to come on that. So
Okay. And Doug, I don't know if you were at that meeting or are aware, there were some residents that had a legitimate concern that the public hearing for this has been close to a year, if not a year. I don't know when exactly. So I know you have just been brought
yeah.
this, so if there's any way to, I mean, we just got to figure out how to properly notify these residents and keep them in the know when this comes up to the board.
I don't have a problem starting over. It's really up to your board, how you want to handle it, because I think we should do it in two steps, the rezoning first, and then the subdivision. We haven't done anything as far as drawings yet,
Understand?
so we're just getting going on it. And it's possible we could talk about zoning in January, but not plating, so.
Okay. We'll confer with staff and give recommendations. Okay. We have a request by the petitioner to defer, unless anyone has any other comments or concerns. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to defer Lenting second edition to St. John and rezone.
I have a motion to defer by John. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob. Comments, question? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries 6-0. All right, next on the agenda, we got industrial proposed development site plan for a ULOC storage facility at 10460 Joliet Street. Doug?
Once again, Doug Reddick with DVG. We have 41 ULOC self-storage. Ken and his partner is here, the developer of that project. We've been working with the town for several months now to seek site plan approval for this project. Subdivision approval was done some time ago. We had to go to the BZA, which we recently were granted the variances that we needed from the BZA. Part of that was due to landscaping, which we have the landscape plan here. So we've got the BZA variances. We worked with Robinson on the compensatory storage for the fill and the floodplain. We have a letter from Robinson Engineering, which I'm sure you'll want to read in. So I believe we have, we're pretty much where we need to be for site plan approval.
All right. Questions, comments? All Sergio, for the good of the cause, this is reviewed by fire department, correct?
Yes.
Make sure, okay, very good, thank you.
And the,
What's that?
I had a question.
Yep, oh, absolutely, go ahead.
So with respect to the compensatory storage, that's all been addressed in the final, correct?
Yes, it has.
Yes. All right. As it's been noted, I actually have two letters here that I will read into the record. The first one is from Haas and Associates. It says, "Dear, regarding 41U Lock Self-Storage Site Plan Review. Dear Plan Commission, we have reviewed the site plan for the reference project and have the following comments. 1, we have reviewed the site plan and find it to be satisfactory. The lighting plan and landscaping plan are considered as being included in the site plan review. Adjustments or revisions may be required to the landscaping plan depending on whether the Board of Zoning Appeal grants the requested variance regarding the screening along Hart Street. We plan to satisfy the compensatory volume required due to the addition of fill in the floodplain have been prepared. The plan will be reviewed by Robinson Engineering. The site plan review fee for this project is $1,500. The SWIP is included in the project plan, but has not been reviewed at this time. The fee for this review will be determined at the time of review." That is from Haas and Associates. And from my understanding, the review fee has been paid, and as we know, the BZA approval has been granted. The next one is from Robinson Engineering, due to the transition. Krupp Industrial, 41 US Lock Self-Storage Proposed Development Site Plan Compensatory Storage Review Number 2. Dear Plan Commission, as requested, Robinson Engineering has reviewed the compensatory storage-related components of the documentation received electronically for the above referenced project. Items received, 41 US U-Lock Self-Storage 9550 Hart Street plans by DVG team dated 11/22/22, compensatory storage cross-section and calculations by DVG team Inc. dated 11/22/22, copy of an email from Indiana DNR DOW dated 11/17/2022, with the following comments: conditionally compliant. As a proposed grading plan shows some minor encroachment in the regulatory floodway of St. John Ditch near the proposed north entrance, the applicant is to provide a copy of an anticipated letter of authorization from the Indiana DNR DOW when received. The revised plans and calculations demonstrated substantial compliance with the intent of St. John Code 24-411 D1K concerning floodplain fill and compensatory storage. No further action is anticipated in this regard unless the plans change. Robinson Engineering, John Dykstra. With that, I will entertain, questions, comments? Entertain a motion, and if it would be to that individual, that please reference the finding of facts for development site plan action. And just one comment, could we make the site plan contingent on us getting a official letter? Doug, I know we have an email saying from DNR that the letter, just that once we get the official letter, we get it, we have it in our hands. The letter from DNR saying that the
Let me read what DNR wrote to me, just so
an
everybody's on the same
email,
page.
or is it a official letter on their letterhead?
It's an email.
Okay.
So I reached out to them, they asked me to email it, and they have a generic mailbox where everything goes. And it's only a couple sentences here. Because work is occurring in the floodway, the project does require DNR approval. However, because the impact in the floodway is so minor, we can process this through a letter of authorization rather than going through the full permit process. What you have already sent should be enough for us to proceed with this. So I will get the file open and assigned for review as soon as possible.
But that in your hand is not the letter of authorization.
It is not. We have not got it yet. I reached out to them by email a couple days ago, didn't hear back. They have not said how long this is going to take. They've indicated this is how they're going to do it. And that's why I think John put in his letter conditionally compliant.
Right.
So we still want to get our site plan approval with this contingency, of course.
Yes, yeah. That's, depending on the recommendation of the board, I would just ask that it's contingent on us receiving a letter.
Of course.
Whether electronic or hard copy
Yeah,
of
it
the.
sounds like
letter
it'd be
of
a formal
authorization.
letter.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay. And referencing finding of facts. Questions, comments, concerns?
No.
No, okay.
Want to make a motion to approve crop industrial site plan for U-Lock self-storage facility at 10460 Joliet Street. Based on finding of facts and the DNR letter of authorization.
I have a motion to approve site plan referencing finding of fact with the contingency of receiving a letter of authorization from DNR and that was by Bob Brilson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Valoy. Comments, questions? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda, it is just for public information. We have received the certificate of amendment for the Preserves Phase 6, Lot 358 and 359. The certificate of amendment to change address 9607 Fescue Drive and 9606 Fescue Drive and 9615 Fescue Drive to 9614 Fescue Drive. And it has now been received, or notice to the public that is, we have received that certification. Next on the agenda, we have a proposed amended secondary plat to the PUD at approximately 96 Place and Wicker Avenue, located on the east side of US 41 zoned C2.
I have not talked to Mr. Boyer about this recently. I think he was in communication with Joe recently, but I don't think we're prepared to ask for that approval tonight, so I think that should be deferred as well.
All right. I have a petitioner has recommended a motion to defer. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to defer Shops 96 proposed amended secondary plat to the PUD.
I have a motion by John Gills. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Bob Valoy. Comments, questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain. All right.
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas.
We're not going to see a study session?
I'll be there.
All right, and then finally, gentlemen, I don't know, the town council will be getting the 2023 scheduled meeting dates. It looks like it is still scheduled for the first Wednesday of the month, and planning commission looks like it's gonna be study session the third Wednesday of the month. So they will make that approval sometime January? January. All right, so, but our first meeting in January looks like it's January 4th, so just be prepared. Public comment, anyone online, anyone listening, anyone?
Nope.
Hearing none?
Motion to defer.
What's that?
It's a motion to defer.
There's a lot of that today. All right, everyone, take care.